Actually, I like this thick stuff here. I've got better. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my fancy pencil. I'm going to cut just a tiny curve here. Okay. Then I'm going to get a file or a piece of sandpaper or anything else that'll take this. Okay, I just kind of smoothed out that edge so I can glue that right in here. Now remember what I said, I don't care that this is oversized. We can make it smaller, but a larger piece is just easier to work with. And on the next lesson, when we get to that, I'll show you how we're going to make it all better. But for now, just plan on it being ugly. Okay, see? See what we got going there? Love that. All right. Find us a piece of glue wherever that went. Here it is. And of course I got the empty bottle, or mostly empty bottle. Here we go. And we need our Instaset. Do you remember when the Super 7s were released?
I like that.
Yeah. So I have a friend, well, the Gleaner dealer in Pratt. I know the guy. Yeah, the owner of the store, and I rang him one time. I says, "Hey David, I hear there's a new Gleaner coming out. What can you tell me about it? It's going to be launched in Heston, right? Blah 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 blah." And he goes, "Yeah. You know, I have to go to this thing." And I said, "Man, it sure would be cool to go to that." And he goes, "Hey, you want to go along?" I said, "Absolutely." So I went to Wichita, and I got to go to the launch.
Up at Heston.
Well, it started in Heston. It finished in Wichita.
Okay.
At the Expo Center,
Mm-hmm.
and they gave away this thing as a door prize.
I got a thing. Oh, this is what we're looking at.
Yeah,
that's what we're looking at.
yeah, on the back.
Yeah.
It was the Heston, Kansas, August 2013 launch of the S-Series combines.
I got a similar thing to that when I went to the Grand Island, Nebraska plant, to the case factory. And saw
Right on.
They build the new hollows on the line there as well. I got a new hollow one like that.
So Ward Turnbull, he's asking who's I got here as my guest. This is my friend Paul from England, Ward, and he is here checking up on the guys he has hired to work on harvest this summer here in America. So he has got guys from Holland, Australia, England, Scotland?
Yeah, New Zealand,
Ireland.
Scotland.
Right.
26 of them all together over here this year on 7 different crews on H2A and J1 visas.
There. I turned the AC off so you can hear us.
We'll heat up again now.
Yeah. Now we'll be all hot. Okay. All we're doing is repeating the second step. Well, we're just repeating what we did on the passenger side. We're doing it on the driver's side now. And you know, this looks really ugly, but don't worry. It won't look ugly forever. It'll just look ugly from this time till next week.
You ever stuck yourself in some of that stuff?
Oh yeah. Yeah, these guys could tell you. They've seen me do it. There's nothing more embarrassing than when I cut myself, I lose a part, or I glue my fingers together when I'm doing these live shows. It doesn't really get much better. And then these guys will heckle you. What are you doing over there? Thank you guys. Real supportive out there. I'm being sarcastic, okay? These guys are pretty good though.
Oh yeah.
But it wouldn't be any fun if they didn't give me a little crap from time to time, because my nephew, he says, Eric, why do you say the silliest things on your show? It's like, I don't know. It's just the way I do it. He goes, sometimes I really have to shake my head. But he's 13.
So this glue, once you've stuck them on there, Eric, are those things pretty solid to when you file them down and shape them up?
Yeah.
Or you need to be fairly careful with it.
There is a method to it,
Right.
and this stuff is really, really good for this purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't be overly excited.
Overzealous with it.
Yeah. You do want to, because when the first time I did this project, we would sand these down and we'd bust them off. Well, we had to figure out how to sand properly,
Right.
so we wouldn't create more work.
Right. Okay.
Because creating more work is dumb.
Yeah. So how long does that need now to go off good?
Okay, so what I did was I put the MaxSecure Extra Thick, which is really good glue, and then you'll notice I was putting a little bit of this on there.
That's the stuff that sets it real quick.
Correct.
Yeah.
There it is right there. So this Instaset just snaps it right on. Okay, so what we've done here, if you're coming in late to the show, we are putting this piece of plastic in place so we can come back, file this, or clean all these edges up so they all match around, so everything matches up, everything's nice and even. Then we'll come back with a sanding drum in lesson 2, and we'll take a sanding drum and make the curve in here for our fender wells so our tires on this frame will fit up in there just right. And if you have not bought your frame yet, you need to do that. You'll notice I need to put a tie rod or else a piece of solid axle in here, but this is the frame I'm using. I just haven't stripped it down. Okay. So all I used to make this was a junk piece of plastic. This is a pretty thick piece of plastic because I wanted the to be about the same thick. Uh-oh. Well, that was weird.
The gimbal's gone.
Yeah, my gimbal just died. I think I'm out of power. All right, my gimbal's out of power.
Do you want me to hold that? Do you want me to hold it there?
Yeah, sure, that'd be great.
There you go.
So, okay, so I wanted the plastic here to be the same thickness as my die cast, more or less. Okay, next. And as I said at the beginning of the show, you can use, if you want to, you can use brass instead of plastic. I don't have any brass, so guess what? I'm using plastic. I'm cutting it slightly oversized to what I really need. That way I have some overlap. Brass will work just fine. It's just a little bit more difficult to work with, in my opinion, where the plastic is really, really simple to work with. Okay. And then, as soon as we get this done, we're basically done with this lesson. And then if you want to ask any questions of Paul, then that would be an entirely appropriate time.
I'll be back next week as well.
Yeah, you will.
Yeah, so we can do some more stuff next week.
I'm using a pretty generous amount of this MaxSecure Ultra Thick on here just because we're going to use sanding paper to clean up all the edges and get rid of all the excess glue. And then that, guys, is basically where we are. One thing you can do, if you so desire, this is optional. You can come back in here with JB Weld and cover up all these holes and all of this stuff back here and make this a nice smooth cab back, or back of the cab, however you want to say.
Yeah.
Got the hiccups here. You know, while we're doing that, let's just do that. We have some time.
Yeah.
I did not do this step on the first ones I made, and frankly, we probably should have, because I think they would have turned out just a little bit cleaner. So all I'm going to use is JB Quick here. Maybe a little bit more. Okay.
You just fill the holes with that glue.
Yeah. You don't use this stuff in England?
Yeah, we have a similar kind of stuff. It's like Ertl. You
Okay.
mix the two
Right.
substances up.
And if you're wondering, this is an old cottage cheese lid. I mean, doesn't have to be fancy to work, right?
No,
This has to work.
just has to do the job.
And the price is right.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to use a generous amount back here because this does sand pretty easy. I'm just going to cover all this up, make me a nice clean back. See, if you guys moved to the States, then you could be my producer. I could have an engineer
Yeah,
like
I can hold your gimbal while it's
yeah,
not, like,
well, the guy, like all
runs out
the
of battery.
professionals that do this kind of stuff, I'd be a professional.
I can be your gimbal.
Oh man, that'd be fantastic. Be like Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon.
Technology fails.
Yeah. Well, it said it had 2 bars on it. Heck, I've run it that long before. Oh well. Okay, now we're done. Because that's all the JB Well I have.
Ah.
Okay, so I put some on the inside here, which I highly recommend, frankly. And then I put some on the back because it will sandal this down and make the back of this nice and glorious and smooth. Okay. And that wraps up this lesson. So let's recap quick what we did. We took our Dremel and we cut right here behind this front piece of die cast, right here on the curve. We cut that back almost, it's kind of at an angle, you really can't tell so well, but it is at a bit of an angle. Flattened all this out, clear back to the beginning of that rear fender well, and then we replaced this piece of plastic with a ginormous ugly piece of, filled in this big curve with a ginormous ugly piece of plastic, which we'll fix later. And then did that on both sides, and then we put a roof on this thing that is oversized so we can sand it down smooth, make the curves nice and beautiful, and have us a freaking awesome flat top. Okay, that's what we're done. So your homework is set. That's what you need to be doing if you haven't done it already.